So we're going to make this cam exactly, and I want you to make it in that same folder, IED 4.1. Go ahead and create a new design in that folder, and then please save it as 412, and then I want you to call it pear cam from dimensions, because we're also going to make a different version of this pear cam. Go ahead and save that. And then we're going to create a sketch. And I'm going to go ahead and have you create it on the front face, like that. Now I want you to pause for a second and look at this shape, and then I want you to try to recreate that shape on your own. Okay, on your sketch, do make sure for your document settings that they are in inches. So change your active units to inches if you need to. And then I did a circle up top, the circle on the bottom, and the axle circle, and then these two lines on the sides. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and trim. You can click the T for trim on your keyboard. And we're going to trim off these pieces of the circle that we don't need. Now we're going to add these tangent constraints. And what tangent means is when a line is touching a circle at just one point. So you can see that I'm just clicking on the curve and then the line. And it doesn't matter if you click the curve then the line or the line then the curve. It works both ways. Now we want to make sure that that top circle is lined up with the bottom center circle, which probably you did automatically when you were first creating the geometry, but in case you didn't, this is how that works. You just click that horizontal vertical constraint and then the top and the bottom centers of those circles, and they will line up together. Now we're going to go ahead and put in our dimensional constraints. First thing we need to do is just select sketch dimension, which I prefer to just click D on my keyboard to bring that up. There we go. And then I click that bottom arc. Notice that it's telling me R and then it's giving me a number. It's actually having me put in the radius. On the next one, you'll see that it's giving me that circle with the slash through it. That means diameter. So if you have just an arc like we do on the bottom here, it's going to have you measure a radius, and if it's a full circle like we had in the middle for that axle, that's going to have you measure a diameter. And so that's why up at the top here, when I put in this one, that's a radius. So notice that's a radius of 0.25 at the top, and then the axle is actually a diameter of 0.25. Now we're just doing a normal dimension between those 2 points and making that 1.25 inches. And now you can see we've got something that looks like the original cam. So if we compare between those two, they look the same. Go ahead and finish that sketch, and we're going to do an extrusion. You can click on that and drag it out. It needs to be 0.25 inches thick. All right, now we're going to apply a material to the body. So you need to remember to two-finger click on that option and then click on physical material. If it shows up like this, click the plus sign to open those up. And I'd like you to apply some type of plastic to yours. For example, PET plastic. That is actually the material that gets used for making disposable water bottles. I want you to pick something besides the one that I pick. I'm going to go ahead and select acrylic. So please select something that's not acrylic. And then if you click back over here, notice if the physical material window is still open, I can't select it. So click escape, and then you should be able to two-finger click on the body and select properties. And now you can see that the mass is, for me, it's 0.862 ounces. The physical material is acrylic. And now we're ready to make our drawing. Please use that drawing template that you downloaded, the IED drawing template. Click Browse and you can find it. You should find it in your IED 4.1 folder, which we created in the last assignment. There you go. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and place my base view. And before you place it, please go ahead and make sure that it is showing up the way that my front is right here. And make sure that you've got hidden edges visible and that the scale is 1:1. And now place that towards the bottom left so that you have plenty of space for your right view and for your isometric view. Then we're going to place our projected views. There's my right view, and I do also want to have an isometric view up in the corner, so make sure you've given yourself plenty of space for both of those views. There we go. Let's make sure that our isometric view is shaded like that. You just double click on that isometric view so that you can change those options. And now we're going to add in our geometry. We want to do a center line on that circle, and also click on that arc at the top, and it'll give you a little crosshair mark to show the center of where we drew that circle. We're also going to do a center line between those two hidden lines on our right view. And now we should be able to start doing our dimensions. Now if it clicks to the corners like that, you can just do the dimension by clicking the two ends for that line instead of clicking the line. And then for the two centers, we'll just click on both of the centers and then we can get that dimension between them. And click to your drop-down menu and you need to click on radius dimension. And we're going to use that for that top arc. Place that one. And we're also going to do a radius dimension for that very bottom arc. There we go. And then I want you to select diameter dimension, and that's going to be for that center axle, that little one there. And I'm having a little trouble selecting it because it's so small. Zooming in sometimes really helps with this. But yeah, select that edge and then bring that out, and you can see that it gives you the diameter symbol instead of an R for radius. Now I want you to go to Document Settings, and then you can just click on that little button on any of them. It opens up all of these different settings. One thing you might change is the text height, and then we can also change the dimension format to fractions. And the precision, we don't have anything that's more precise than 1/4 inch than 0.25, so we're going to keep that the same. Click OK. And maybe that text height is actually too high, so I can click that button and change it back to 0.12. And now that actually looks pretty good. Okay, finally we just need to add the material and the weight. So you're going to want to jump back over to your design. There we go. And then on body, open up your properties and remind yourself of those if you need to. And now I'm going to just make my little text box. Underneath weight, I did weight first because I didn't want to forget what it was. And what's kind of annoying is I thought I had placed it properly, but then even so, it still is over there and I had to go and grab onto it. So here I'm clicking the zoom in and then I just scrolled upwards and that allowed me to zoom in. And then clicked escape so that I could grab onto this object again, grabbed onto that gray box and was able to scooch it over. There we go. And then just went ahead and clicked on that for another text box and typed in acrylic after checking the spelling and then scooched it over as well. You can again just hit M on your keyboard if you need to be able to move something, or if that little gray square pops up on the object, you can grab onto the gray square and move it along. All right, now you're just going to put the output to a PDF. Please save this assignment as 412A. Cam from Dimensions. We're going to do a different version of this as well. So make sure this one's called Cam from Dimensions and it's 412A. save it as a PDF, also save it here in Fusion, and then you are done.